Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that I started talking about in my advice to contacting a femdom. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to break it down into some very basic things that really apply to anybody who's, considers themselves submissive. But some of the stuff actually can consider to people who think they're a switch or a dom or anything else about finding someone online and communicating with someone online. Right? Right. Okay. What I want you to do is I don't want you to skip anything. Do not skip anything. I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, and I want you to make sure that you write everything down, all of the instructions. Yes, all of the instructions. And I want you to do them because I promise you that if you go through this and you do this exactly the way I say, chances are that you're going to have a far easier job of finding the right person for you. Of course, what is the right person, right? Let's get there. First, I want you to do this before you contact a new person. Understand? Before. I want you to first start up writing a nice introduction about yourself. Don't make it too long, don't make it a book, right? But it needs to be at least several paragraphs. You want to make sure that you're giving someone a good impression of you, but not one that says, I don't know when to shut up, or I'm sorry, I'm too boring. You want to grab somebody's attention and say, this is why I would be fun to play with, or this is why I might be fun to explore things with, or these are the reasons that I might make a good slave, submissive, dominant, whatever. Okay? Saying that you're 40 and you're reasonably fit and, your height, weight proportional, that's so dull. You hear me? That's incredibly dull. If I read that, I go, yep, like everybody else, right? But you're like, but goddess, I have no idea what to talk about. I don't know what to say about myself. Everybody can be interesting for a few minutes. Saying, I am reasonably fit. I don't spend as much time in the gym as I should, but I do take this really awesome yearly whitewater rafting trip with my buddies. See, look, there was a whole thing right there. Now you're at least a little bit interesting. Just a little. If you're going to have a profile on a website somewhere, spend a little extra time writing this, okay? You're going to write your little introduction regardless of whether you send it to someone or not, because it helps you to be able to describe who you are, right? But if you're going to use it on a profile, make sure that you proofread it. Make sure that you are at least using good grammar, and make sure that it says who you are. If you don't know what to say, okay, I get it, not everybody can talk about themselves. You can use quotes, or you can mention things that are important to you or that you're passionate about. Those things are much easier to talk about. Now, it should go without saying, don't be crude. I know, this is all very exciting, and I know you're very horny. I know. It all feels like all the blood flow should be rushing downstairs every time you see a picture of a girl in a super hot outfit, right? Cool it. If you're crude, the chances of you getting a response from your dream person, even if that person might be the compatible person, are gonna be like nil, okay? Because you know what? I don't want to talk to anybody who talks about their dick. I don't want to talk to anybody who talks about this or that or sex or whatever. I just want to know you first. Really, I do. Brain first, genitalia later. Next, I want you to make a list of the things that you know you're interested in, the things you're definitely not interested in, and perhaps things that you're not sure about. Be ready to explain specific things, right? Be ready to give specific examples, saying, I like bondage, And then not saying, well, I like specific kinds of bondage is kind of like saying, I like all brown food. All those things you're not sure about, guess what? They make a great place to start a conversation. But you can, in the meantime, start looking up all those things that maybe you're not sure about. Don't use the internet and porn, specifically porn, as your encyclopedia, okay? Because really that's like using Hollywood as a way to describe real life. Be ready to describe what that activity means to you. For example, like humiliation. For some people, dressing up in women's clothing is humiliating. For other people, you have to be taken out in public and being made to do degrading acts. Yes, I know, me even saying that makes some of you very excited, but do try to pay attention. Now, we have an idea of your interests, right? Now I want you to write up your expectations. Ooh, sounds serious. And it is. I want you to answer the question, what are you looking for? What are you looking for in an experience with another person? Are you looking for a chance to explore an activity? Are you looking for a relationship? Are you looking for a very serious long-term DS relationship? Or are you simply looking for kinky sex? There's no wrong answer here. The only wrong answer is for you to not come up with an answer. Because if you don't know what you want out of an experience, how can you tell that to someone else? One of the things I ask people when they come to me is what it is they're looking for. Some people want something very, very intense or very extreme. And other people just want to be able to play. Guess what? That's great. Now I can start to describe and come up with a great experience. Now I want you to figure out your boundaries. Now, listen, I don't mean limits. I specifically don't mean limits. Why? Because limits actually can change. They can be kind of fluid depending on who you're playing with. But boundaries, on the other hand, are areas that you don't want someone to go into. They could be very specific, such as you really enjoy heavy corporal play, but you only want to keep it on your backside. Or you have no interest in doing any kind of fluid exchange, no matter what. They could also be not activity related and more related to like relationship type things, which most sometimes even think of as activities. They could be things like your finances or your diet and exercise, your personal relationships, right? Or they could be things like being asked to run personal errands for a dom. If you say, I want to serve a dominant woman, well, guess what? What one dominant woman thinks of as service is going to be very different than what another dominant woman thinks of. If you're going to include a picture, i.e. like a picture on a profile or with some kind of email exchange. Number 1, do not use a picture of your anatomy. Don't do it. I'm serious here. I don't want to look at your butt. I don't want to look at your feet. I don't want to look at your chest. I mean, if it's like half of your face and your chest, okay. I definitely don't want to look at your cock or your balls. I've seen plenty of those. What does that have anything to do with you? Nobody is going to make any kind of judgment based on your cock size, even if you have an enormous cock, right? Because it still says nothing about you. All you are is opening yourself up for ridicule and you're being crude. Don't be crude. Don't use an ancient picture. Don't use a picture you stole from Tumblr. Yes, I know all those pictures you stole from Tumblr. We all know. If you're worried about confidentiality and you want to use a picture, just crop your face from the nose down, right? You're Batman. Okay, we've got a nice, good base. We have who you are, what you're into, what you're looking for, what you don't want, what you think you want out of somebody. Hey, guess what? This is a great start. Now, you can be real and honest and direct when you start to communicate with someone, right? Good. Now, I want to know, how does this work out for you? Give it a shot. Write it all down, work it into your communications, and see what changes.